Good morning students, welcome back to the class. Today we are going to discuss regarding process synchronization. We have seen regarding the processes, right? So what do you mean by a process and what are the different states a process is going to have? All the things we have seen. So today we will be going to discuss regarding process synchronization, which is very important in operating system. So why I am going to stress that it is an important in the sense as we are not dealing with the single environment system or a single processor systems. Like if you are going to deal with a single processor system, suppose here you will be going to have uh, here we will be going to have a process synchronization, right? Process synchronization is nothing but synchronizing of processes. So, when we will be going to synchronize the process, suppose if process P1 is there, here the CPU is there and here the process P1 is there. If only one process is there, do we need synchronization? No. Why? Because this one process is going to be executed by the CPU completing its task. So when we are going to deal with the single process, we need not go for synchronization. Why? Because as there is only one process, this process will enter into the running state and the CPU is going to execute that process P1. After completing that process, this process will be exit out of the CPU. So we don't need any synchronization between any of the thing. Why? Because here we are going to have only a single process. Suppose when will the synchronization is going to occur in the sense, suppose here we are going to have process P1 and process P2. Fine. When we are going to say that we need synchronization in the sense, when any number of processes, one or more than one number of process is used to share the common resource. This is the common one. When any processes are used to share the common resource, then we need synchronization. Fine. Suppose for example, suppose if you are going to take an ATM, suppose if you are going to take an ATM in the sense like this is an ATM machine for example. So first this process P1 will come, do its complete task and then it will exit out of this ATM machine. Fine. Next, this is the first turn, like as first come first serve. Here process P1 entered first, so he has utilized that ATM, he has done some task with that ATM and then he is going to exit out of that ATM. And next one, when here comes the process P2. So when process P2 came, now after process P1, this process P2 enter into this ATM, he will be going to do some task and later on sometime he will be exit out of the ATM machine. Here we need no, here what we are going to do is, here we are going to follow the first come first serve. So when process P1 comes, it is going to do all its task and then it is going to exit out of the system. And process P2 coming, doing its task and exit out of the system. Here we are going to share the common resource. Fine. Common resource is ATM. Suppose when we, here these two processes are synchronized. Why? Because one after another we are allowing the process to utilize that ATM and after doing the task with that ATM, they are going to exit out of that ATM. Here these two processes are in synchronized manner. Suppose if P3 process also joined means, here also the same thing happen. Process P1 will do first, after that P2 will do and after that P3 will do. How many number of processes admitted also, we don't find any sort of difference. Why? Because all the processes are in synchronized manner. So that is the synchronization. Synchronization is nothing but coordination among the process. When we are going to have the term synchronization in the sense, when we are going to use some shared one, use some shared resource, then we will be going to have the synchronization. Here, there are two different types of processes. The first one is the serial process, and second one is the uh, parallel process. This is the first one. This is the second one, serial process and the parallel process. So here, this ATM is comes under the example of serial process. ATM comes under the example of serial process. Why? Because P1 first comes, then P2 will be coming, then P3 will be coming, then P4 will be coming. Here we don't find any clumsiness between the processes. Fine. P1 will come, do its task, exit out of the ATM machine, then P2 will enter, do its task, exit out of the ATM machine, then P3 will come, do its task, then exit out of this ATM machine. So here all the processes are synchronized. These comes under serial processing. So this is the serial processing. So in the serial processing, we don't want to keep so many of efforts. Why? Because one after one another, the tasks are going to be done, and it is going to be very much easy for us to do our task. So that is the serial processing. So the hurdle comes when we are going to do with the parallel processing. So when we are going to do with this parallel processing, there we can find much of the difficulty. Fine. This parallel processing where we will be going to do in multi-program environments. In multi-programmed environments where we are going to share some sort of variable, or where we are going to share some resources, or where we are going to share the memory. So all this is when we are comes under the resources. Resources may be a CPU, resources may be a printer, or resources may be a scanner, whatever it may be. Those are in common. So whenever two or more processes wants to share a common thing, then we are going to have a proper synchronization between the processes. There comes the actual task of synchronization. So without process synchronization, we will be going to have one important concept called race condition is going to occur. I will be telling you what is a race condition and how it is going to occur. Like, this is the basic introduction. Like, what do you mean by a process? In the sense, a program in execution, we say it as a process. Process synchronization, in the sense synchronization among the processes, we call it as a process synchronization. Why we need synchronization? Synchronization is required when we are going to use some shared variables or shared resources or shared memory. Whenever we are going to use some shared one, shared in the sense P1 and P2 has to use the same variable, or P1 P2 has to use the same memory buffer, or P1 P2 has to use the same printer. So when we are making something in common between the processes, we call it as a shared. So when we are going to make use of shared things, we need a synchronization. As we are going to have many number of processes, all the processes needs to be synchronized. Then only we will be going to have the data to be consistent. If the processes are not synchronized, the output or the data what we will be going to get is of inconsistent data. So this is the brief introduction regarding the process synchronization. So as we all know, the processes are of two types, right? So first one is the independent process, and second one is the cooperative process. So first one is the independent process and second one is the cooperative process. So independent processes are the processes which are not depending on anyone. So suppose if you are going to take a process P1, this process P1 has its own memory, has its own printer, has its own scanner, has its own some sort of variable, some local variables. So everything are going to be under the control of P1 only. So this processes we call it as an independent processes. Independent means which are not depending on any other process for completion of its work. those processes we call it as an independent process. So for example, as I have said you, P1 is an independent process which is going to have its own memory, so own printer it is going to have, own scanner it is going to have, and own shared local variables it is going to have. So it is not going to depend on any other process for its execution. So those type of processes we call it as an independent process. Here we don't find any problem. So after one process another process will come, like ATM machine, like independent process, like uh, the thing which we are going to have is the independent process, like everyone will be coming, doing their task, and they are going to exit out of the system. And next, another group of processes we call it as a cooperative processes. Fine. So what are these cooperative processes? In the sense, these cooperative processes share these cooperative processes share the resources, share the memory, shares a variable, and shares the data. So these are the things that when we are going to talk regarding the cooperative process. Independent process in the sense, that process is going to have its own memory, own resources, own local variables, everything it is going to have on its own. When we are going to talk regarding the cooperative process in the sense, like when one or more processes sharing the resources or sharing the memory or sharing a variable or sharing some sort of data, we call it as an cooperative processes. So these are the two different kinds of process. When it comes to the independent process, like no, we don't have any sort of things to be needed, like we don't need any sort of attention regarding this independent process. Why? Because they themselves will come and they'll be going to do the task and they'll be going to leave the system. We have to pay attention towards the cooperative process only. Why? Because many processes will be there, many process has to synchronize in order to have the like exact data to be outputted. So these are the different processes, independent processes as well as the cooperative processes. So if they share some sort of resources, we'll be going to have effect on any other process. So one process will be going to affect the other processes if they share something, that may be a resources, that may be a printer, that may be a memory, or that may be a variable, whatever it may be. If anything is going to be shared in the shared mode, then we call it as a cooperative process. For that cooperative process only we need synchronization, but we don't need any synchronization for the independent processes. So processes are of two types: independent processes and the cooperative process. Independent process means which are not going to depend on any other process for completion of its task. So we did not bother regarding the independent process. We have to pay more attention for the cooperative processes. What are the cooperative processes? In the sense, like when we are going to share something between the processes, those processes we call it as a cooperative processes. We have to pay much attention for the cooperative process. Why? Because they are going to share some data, or they are going to share some variable, they are going to share the memory, or they are going to share the resources, whatever it may be, something is going to be shared between the processes, then we call those processes as the cooperative processes. Fine. So here, like I'll be going to give you an example, like when we'll be going to face a problem for the cooperative processes. Fine. So here, so if you are going to talk regarding the cooperative processes, so I'll be going to give you an example of cooperative processes. Cooperative processes in the sense, suppose I have taken process P1 and process P2. This is the P1 process and this is the P2 process. So if why we have to pay attention for the cooperative process in the sense, so cooperative processes are going to share something, that will be some shared, they'll be going to share resources or a variable or a memory, fine. So then we have to pay attention for the cooperative process. Suppose in this example I have taken a variable shared. So this is going to be 5. I have allocated a value 5 to the shared variable. So this shared variable is going to be shared between the process P1 and P2. I have declared it globally. So if I have written the code for P1, so in P1 I have taken one local variable int x, that is equals to some, I have assigned it to share, and I have incremented this x value, and now I have used a sleep one, and then I have used shared is equals to x. Now I have another process P2. In this P2 I am using a local variable y is equals to shared. So y minus minus sleep, and then shared is equals to y. So let us see why we need a cooperation, why we need a synchronization between the two processes. Here you will be going to find one new condition called the rest condition. So what we call a rest condition, by seeing this example you will be going to find out, fine. Here this shared is a global variable, this shared is a global variable in the sense I can use it in P1 as well as the P2 process. This x is a local variable and y is a local variable, fine. Here x x is an integer variable which is going to be like in that x we are going to store the value of shared. So now x is having the which value, shared, in the sense shared is equals to 5. Now x is going to have the 5 value. Here x is equals to 5, fine. Now x plus plus in the sense x is going to be 6 now, right. Next I have encountered a statement called sleep of 1. Sleep of 1 in the sense, like CPU we are telling the processor to stop this process P1 for 1 millisecond and for 1 millisecond. Then what now the CPU is executing both P1 and P2 parallelly, right. Here P1 is there and here P2 is there. Now C1 is currently, CPU is executing currently P1. So here x plus plus in the sense x is equals to 6 when it has encountered the statement sleep of 6. Like in the previous sessions we have seen different algorithms, right. So preemption and non-preemption. So preemption in the sense we can stop the process in the middle and give the chance to another process. So that is a preemption. So actually what is a preemption in the sense, we are we are making this process P1 to stop but not the CPU. CPU will not be idle at any time. CPU will be busy all the ways, all the time. Here we are telling a process P1 to start but not the CPU to stop. Here process P1 is going to wait for 1 millisecond of time. Here process P1 is going to wait but not the CPU. CPU is always busy. So when the CPU has encountered sleep of 1, it is going to wait for 1 minute. So this process P1 is going to halt for 1 minute. At that middle of the time, what the CPU is do is, CPU will check if any processes are there in the running state, in the ready queue. So process P2 is there, so it will be going to enter into this running state, and now the CPU is executing this process P2. So y is equal to shared. What is the value of shared over here? Here the value of shared is equals to 5. Why? Because we have declared shared is equals to 5 as a global variable, fine. Then here the value of y is equals to 5. Y is equals to 5. Y minus minus, that means y is equals to 4. Next, sleep of 1. Sleep of 1 in the sense, now the process P2 has to wait. process P2 has to wait, but not the CPU will be going to wait. Only the process P2 is going to wait. At that time, what the CPU will do is any other process in the ready queue, if any other process wants to execute in the CPU. Yes, why? Because we have taken only 1 minute to halt the process P1. In this 1 minute, it is going to execute this P2 process. When the time has completed, this CPU has to switch to process P1 again. So before here, what it is done is from sleep to int y, what we have done is we have done the context switching. Here comes the concept of context switching. So switching from P1 to P2. So this is called context switching. Context switching in the sense, so when a process P1 is going to context switch, it will be going to store all the details in the PCB, as we have already studied. So PCB is nothing but the process control block. In that process control block, we used to store all the details of the P1. Why? Because after executing the P1, after when sleep comes, again the CPU has to execute the P1 process. Then CPU has to know till where it has executed, at what point it has executed, from which instruction it has to start execution. All the things the CPU have to know. So from where the CPU is getting all the details, in the sense, by making use of this process control block, the CPU will be going to check the process control block of P1, and it is going to get the details like it has completed, okay, 3 instruction it has completed, from 4th instruction it has to start. Like that we used to get the details from the process PCB. So by seeing the process control block, this CPU got the information that till 3 instructions it has completed. Now this has to execute the 4th instruction. Here what is the thing over here? Shared is equals to x. Now what is the value of x over here? So x value is 6. So that is going to be updated in the shared. Now x value is going to be updated in the shared. Why? Because shared is a global variable. Now as x is equals to shared, in the sense, this 6 value is going to be updated in the global variable. Previously it was 5, now it was 6. Now this process completed, so we will be going to terminate this process. Termination in the sense, leaving all the resources in which it has allocated. Whatever the space it has occupied, we will be going to release that space. Whatever the resources it has taken, we will be going to leave all the resources. That means the termination. So when we are terminating the process P1, it is going to release all the resources, all the space which it has occupied. Now now P1 process completed. Now CPU will check any process is there. Yes, we are having a P2 process. Again the CPU will check the PCB of P2 process. Then it is going to get the till 3rd instruction completed. Now I have to start the 4th instruction. Now the CPU will encounter here shared is equals to y. What is the value of y? So here the value of y is equals to 4. That 4 value is going to be updated in the shared. Now here, now 6 will be overwritten by 4. Now this process also completed. This process also completed. Now both the process terminate. Now look at here. So here we are going to have a shared value as 5 initially. Fine. This is a global variable. Is the answer 4 is right or wrong? Answer 4 is right or wrong? Answer 4 is wrong. Answer 4 is wrong. Why? Because check out here. So here initially the shared variable, we are going to allocate the shared value of 5 over here. Fine. Initially it is 5. When we have incremented, 5 incremented in the sense, like we will be going to have 6. Fine. Here when we are going to have 6 means that 6 has to be decremented actually. But here the 5 is going to be decremented, it is going to be 4, which is a wrong value. So here we have assigned a variable 6, x equals to 6 here. Here if increment is done in the sense 5 has to be go to 6, then this 6 has to be decremented in the sense the 6 has to be decremented by 5. But here we are going to get the answer 4, which is a wrong answer. This condition we call it as an race condition. This condition we call it as an race condition. Race condition in the sense two processes are attempting, like I'll be going to execute first, I'll be going to execute first. Suppose if P2 executed first also, we'll be going to get the same answer. Race condition means like we'll not say that every time when we are going to make use of cooperative process, every time we'll be going to face the problem of race condition. There may be a chances of getting the race condition. Here you have to make a note of that. There may be a chances, may be a chance of race condition, but I'm not saying that every time if you are going to make use of cooperative process, every time you don't find this race condition. Here this situation we call it as a race condition. Fine. Here when two processes are competing among each other, then we'll face a problem called race condition. So what is that race condition? What is the problem we'll be going to face in that race condition? In the sense, like here the data will be inconsistent. We'll be going to have the data of inconsistent data will be there. Why? Because here actually the answer should be 5, but we are going to get the answer as 4, which is very wrong. Why? Because if 5 is incremented means like we will be going to get 6. If 5 is decremented means we will be going to get 6 is decremented, in the sense we will be going to get the 5, but we will be going to get the answer which is very wrong. So this is the race condition. So we shouldn't get this race condition. In order to have, or in order to overcome this race conditions, or in order to have the synchronization among the process, we have a concept called critical section. We have a concept called critical section. So what are those concepts? We'll be going to see now. So this is the brief introduction and what is the process coordination, how the processes are competing, what is the problem you will be going to face when the processes are competing. So when the processes are competing, you will be going to face a problem called race condition. Race condition is nothing but competing among the processes. We will be going to have the data to be inconsistent, but we don't want the data to be inconsistent. So that inconsistent data is a wrong data. So we have to avoid that race condition. Fine. Now you will be, if you have seen here, so what do you mean by a process synchronization? So process synchronization, as I have said you, process synchronization means sharing a system resources. Resources may be a CPU, resources may be memory, resources may be some variable, whatever it may be. If you are going to share anything, a CPU, memory or a variable. When we are talking regarding the resources, it may be a printer, it may be a scanner, whatever it may be, all these comes under the resources. If we are sharing system resources by processes in such a way that concurrent access to a shared data is handled, thereby minimizing the chance of inconsistent data. This is what a process synchronization. So what we have to do, we have to maintain the data consistency. So data has to be consistent. How many changes we have done, but the data at the last, the data has to be consistent. So that is the main concept of process synchronization. So process synchronization was introduced to handle the problems that arose while multiple process executions. As I have said you in the previous example, two processes are there, P1 and P2. These two processes are competing among each other. So in order to competing among each other, we find a problem called a race condition. So that shouldn't be entertained. So in order to overcome this race condition, like we'll be going to have a solution for this called the critical section. So critical section. What do you mean by a critical section? Critical section means like it is a code, where the shared variables are going to be locked. Suppose for example here, if you are going to talk regarding the code, fine. Here we will be going to have process P1, Here we will be going to have process P2. Here I have written a code hash include some stdio.h. So here I am writing the main. So I have written some of the statements in the main statement. Same here, hash include stdio.h and main. Here I am writing some of the instructions. So when we are going to have a process P1 and P2, in the main we will be going to have two sections. In the main we will be going to have two sections. Here also in this process P2 also we will be going to have two sections, fine. So one section is of non-critical section. One section is of non-critical section and another section is of critical section. For each main you will be going to have a critical section and non-critical section. So what is a non-critical section and what is a critical section? In the main is going to have two sections, namely critical section and non-critical section. So when we are going to talk regarding the non-critical section, all the code, so all the code is going to be, all the code will be executing in the non-critical section except a shared variables. Except a shared, all the remaining code will be executed in the non-critical section. Suppose if anything is shared between the processes, suppose here in non-critical section, here xy variables have been used, here ab variables have been used. So why? Because these are local to this program and these are local to this program. So these are going to be written in non-critical section. For example, if I am going to write some sort of code, this code is common for both P1 and P2. This code is common for both P1 and P2. So as it is common, this code is common for both P1 and P2, I will be writing this code in critical section. So what I mean to say is, each and every program in the main we used to have two sections, non-critical section and the critical section. Non-critical section in the sense the variables or the things which are not common between any of the processes we will be going to write in non-critical section, and the things which are going to be shared between the two processes we are going to write it in the critical section. So here in the same manner, so the critical section is a code segment where the shared variables can be accessed. So here we used to have the critical section. So in this critical section is going to be have the shared variables only. Not shared variables are written in the non-critical section. An atomic action is required in a critical section. Atomic in the sense single action. So either single action, this is the atomic action is very important. As I have said you, P1 and P2, atomic action in the sense either P1 has to use the critical section or P2 has to use the critical section. Both shouldn't use at a time. So that is the condition for the critical section. So by making use of this critical section, we will be going to have a process synchronization. So process synchronization in the sense synchronizing between the two processes, we call it as a process synchronization, right? How we are going to make the processes to be synchronized in the sense by making use of a critical section, we will be going to have the process to be synchronized. So that is only one process can execute in critical section at a time. So even though if you are having two processes or 5 processes, irrespective of number of processes, what we are going to do is we are going to allow only one process to enter into the critical section. Remaining all other process has to wait out of the critical section only. Critical section is something like a major important cabin. Suppose we'll be going to have the details, important details, in the sense the authorized persons only will be going to enter into that room. Not everybody, will not make everybody to allow into that room. In the same manner, critical section in the sense it is an important section in which shared variables are going to be placed. But how the shared variable is going to be used? One after another, like ATM, one person is going to come, do the task, and he is going to leave. Another person is going to come, do the task, and he is going to leave. So that ATM is a critical section now. So only one by one is going to come and execute. So that's the reason how we are going to achieve the process synchronization. Now you will be going to see what is the critical section. It is a code segment where shared variable can be accessed and atomic action is required. Atomic in the sense single. Atomic action in the sense single action is required in a critical section. Suppose here it is this is a critical section. Here we are going to have process P1, P2 and P3. So first P2 enters in the sense P2 has to do all the task and then P2 has to exit. If P2 exit in the sense, then only P1 will enter. If P1 comes and P1 exit in the sense, then only P3 will enter and P3 will exit. So one by one the task is going to be done. That we call it as a critical section. So I will be going to show you the critical section. So here this is the critical section. So this whole thing we call it as a demonstrates the critical section problem. Fine. Here critical section, this red color one is the critical section. This is the important section. So this is the important section. Here we are going to have process P1, process P2, process P3, process P4 and process P5. 5 processes are out of the critical section. These 5 process shares, these 5 process shared some variable or some memory, we can say. These 5 processes are sharing the same memory. So what the common thing is? Memory. So that's the reason why these processes are going to be here and why we are going to implement the critical section. So before enter into the critical section, before the first section is like we will be going to have 4 sections: entry section, critical section, exit section and the remainder section. These are the 4 important sections in the critical section problem. So entry section in the sense, suppose if among the 5 processes, like if any process wants to use the shared code in the sense, suppose for example P3 wants to use this shared code. Here this is the shared memory. Fine. So that shared memory we kept in a critical section. So if P3 wants to use that critical section in the sense, first it has to enter into the exits in entry section. So it has, now P3 is in entry section. After successfully completing the entry section code, after it has done with the entry section code successfully, then only it will be going to enter into the critical section. Now P3 has there in critical section. Now P3 has done some task with the shared memory. After the completion of that task, now P3 has to execute the exit section. Exit section in the sense like that the shared memory has been used, then P3 is saying that I have utilized that shared variable, shared memory, now I completed the task. Exit in the sense now anyone can enter into the critical section. It is an acknowledgement. So P3 said that exit section. After exit section, it has to enter into the remainder section. Remainder section in the sense non-critical, non-critical, non-critical. Here critical in the sense shared data. Non-critical section in the sense the data which is not shared, not shared data. If anything is left out, that P3 will be going to execute over here, then it is going to leave the thing. So this is how the critical section is going to be executed. So you will be, for example of this critical section is like I'll be going to have like we'll be going to have our house, right? We'll be going to have our house, and what we'll be going to do? we will be going to lock our house. Fine, we will be going to lock our house. So entry section, in the sense, before enter into the house, what you have to do, you have to open the lock, right? Open the lock, enter into the, open the lock, after that entry into the house, do your work. When your work is completed, you have to exit out of the lock. Exit in the sense, like again you are locking, releasing the lock. Fine, this is the how you will be going to have this one. So entry section, in the sense, when you are entering, you have to acquire the lock. So you have to gain the locks, you have to lock over here. Locked, in the sense, no other process is allowed into this entry section. After entry section successfully completed, in the sense, critical section. Critical section is the important section in which the shared data is going to be placed over there. So after completing the task with this critical section, it has to exit. Again, while coming, he has to lock it. He has to lock it. What lock, in the sense that I have done the task with the critical section. Now I am exiting out. So who is willing to use the critical section, they can enter. Remainder section, in the sense, here we are going to place the shared data in critical section. Remaining section, in the sense, the data which is not shared, that data we are going to place in the remainder section. While exiting, this P3 will be going to execute that remainder section, and then it will be exit out. Suppose for next P5 wants to enter, then P3 completed, it has exited. Now P5 will acquire the lock, and it will, you will be going to use the critical section, and after exiting the critical section, it is released the lock, and if any remainder section code it wants to do, it will do, or else it will be exiting out. Next P1 will be going to enter into the critical section. Now here, if you observe that here all the processes are synchronized, no race condition is there among the processes. Why? Because here process P3 executed first, next P5 executed, next P2, P1 executed, next P3, 4 will execute, and next P2 will execute. So one by one, all the processes are going to be executed. Here there is no sort of race condition. So this critical section is the one which is going to avoid the problems of race condition. Here critical section, in the sense, it is a section where the shared variables are going to be placed in the critical section. Not shared variables are going to be placed in the remainder section. So this is how. So before entering into the critical section, you have to execute the code of entry code. While leaving the critical section, you have to execute the code of exit code. So these two things are very important. See here, entry section, in the sense, each process must repeated process to enter its critical section. Entry section implements this code. Exit, in the sense, code followed by the critical section. Remainder, in the sense, remainder code other than shared variable data code is going to be placed in the remainder section. So this is how we will be going to allow all the processes to be synchronized. Synchronized, in the sense, one after one another, without the data inconsistent. We will be going to keep the data consistent by making use of this critical section. This is how critical section is going to be have. So there are many solutions to this critical section problem. So the first solution is a mutual exclusion, progress, and bounded waiting. So we will be going to have three different things when we are going to comes to the solutions of the critical section problem. Fine. So that is how we will be going to have solutions to critical section problem. There are majorly three major solutions to critical section problem. So the first one is I will be telling you. So here solutions to critical section. The first one is mutual exclusion. Second one is progress. And the third one is bounded waiting. So these are the three solutions to critical section problem. Like already we have many solutions. You can also write your own code satisfying these three problems. So what do you mean by a mutual exclusion? So mutual exclusion in the sense, this is the critical section and these are the processes P1 and P2. Mutual exclusion in the sense, only one process should enter into the critical section at a time. One process at a time. So in order to have the critical section problem successfully, you have to satisfy all the three things. So when you satisfy a critical section, you have the processes to be in synchronized manner. So if you are not satisfying any of the three, so these two comes under primary, compulsory, these two has to be satisfied, and in some cases we can neglect this bounded waiting. So basically you have the primary preference is going for mutual exclusion and progress, and secondary preference is for bounded waiting. So what do you mean by mutual exclusion? Only one process should enter at a time into the critical section. Here the process P1 is there, the process P2 is there. So if process P1 comes first, P1 will enter into the critical section completing its task, and then P1 will exit out of the critical section. Suppose if P2 comes first, P2 will enter into the critical section, exit its task, completing its task and exit out of the critical section. Mutual exclusion in the sense, only one process should enter into the critical section at a time. So no two process should enter into the critical section at the same time. Only one should enter into the critical section. So that is mutual exclusion. And next, coming to the bounded waiting, progress. So here, as I have said you, this is the critical section. Here is the process P1 and process P2. Here we will be going to have conditions. First condition is P1 not willing to enter. Fine. P1 not willing to enter into critical section. Suppose P2 is willing. P2 is willing. But in the code of P1, we have written that to block P2. In the code of P1 we have written that to block P2. So now what P1 will do is, it is not willing to enter into the critical section, that is first point, and P2 is willing to enter into the critical section. But when P2 is entering into the critical section, what this P1 will do is, P1 will block this P2 for not entering into the critical section. That is the progress condition. So this P1 is not willing to enter. Even though P2 wants to enter into the critical section, this P1 is not allowing P2 to enter into the critical section. This condition we call it as an progress condition. So no progress is going to be happened over here. P1 is not entering and P2 is also not entering. So this no progress over here, this condition we call it as a progress condition. And next one is bounded waiting. So what do you mean by bounded waiting? Bounded waiting in the sense, here P1 is there and process P2 is there. P1 executed one time, process P2 not executed. P1 executed second time, P2 not executed. P1 executed third time, P2 executed. Like that P1 executed 6 times and P2 executed 1 time. Fine. And next P1 executed 7 times, 8 times, and here only 1 time only. P1 has executed infinite number of times, but P2 has executed only 1 number of time. This we call it as an bounded waiting. So here what we have to do is, P1 is going to execute for many number of times. P1 is going to execute for many number of times. But what we are going to do, we are going to execute P2 for only 1 number of times. But what we are going to do here, we are making P2 to execute only 1 number of time and P1 is going to execute for infinite number of times. So this is of bounded waiting. So these conditions should not be satisfied. This is how, these are the three conditions, solutions to critical problem, in the sense mutual exclusion has to be done. That means only one process should enter into the critical section. Progress, in the sense like P1 does not want to enter into the critical section, and if P2 wants to enter into the critical section, this P1 is not allowing P2 to enter into the critical section. This is also the one solution in to the critical section problem. And bounded waiting, bounded waiting may be also one of the solution. Here P1 is executing for infinite number of times, but P2 is executing only for single amount of time. This is also the one solution to the critical section problems. These are the three major solutions to critical section problem. So if mutual exclusion is happened, like is not happened, we are not going to have the process synchronization. If progress is happened, no process synchronization will be there, and if bounded wait is happened, no process synchronization will be there. So these are the different critical section problems. Fine. Mutual exclusion, in the sense, implies that only one process can be inside the critical section at any time. At any point of time, only one process should be there in the critical section. Progress means if a process is not using the critical section, then it should not stop any other process from accessing it. So this is also one of the solution to critical section. Bounded waiting, in the sense each process must have a limited waiting time. It should not wait endlessly to access the critical section. So here what has happened, here P2 is waiting endlessly. So this is the critical section. So these are the different critical solution problems. Here race condition, as I have said you, it is an undesirable situation that occurs when a device or a system attempts to perform two or more operations at the same time, but because of the nature of the device or the system, the operations must be done in a proper sequence to be done correctly. So then only the race condition is going to does not occur. Fine. This is the race condition. What are the solutions to critical section, in the sense mutual exclusion, progress and bounded waiting. Mutual exclusion, in the sense only one process should enter into the critical section at a time. Progress, in the sense if any two processes are there, if one process is not willing to enter into the critical section, but still it is not allowing the other process to enter into the critical section, that condition we call it as a progress. In other words, any process can enter a critical section, it is free. There should not be any process to stop the another process to enter into the critical section. Bounded waiting, it means that no other process has an infinite times to execute, and no other process should wait endlessly. That is the bounded waiting. So these are the things in which we will be going to see in the process synchronization. Process synchronization, in the sense synchronizing of process. So when we are going to require that synchronization of process, in the sense in cooperative processes only we need process synchronization. Why only in cooperative process? In the sense in cooperative process we are going to share something among different processes. So when we are sharing something among different processes, then we need a proper synchronization between the processes. Then critical section is one of the thing in which we provide a synchronization. That's all for today, and I'll meet you in the next class. Thank you, students. Have a great day.